What's up, guys? Welcome back to the EG Pop Thunder with your boy, the young light-skinned Key Sweat, here with my guy, Coach Dunbar, the founder and director of Breakthrough Elite 7-on-7, former head coach at Westerly High School and the director of Breakthrough Football Academy. Prior to Westerly, Coach Dunbar was the head coach at Coventry High School. In his first season as the head coach at Coventry, the Oakers broke a 13-year losing streak to the Thanksgiving rival West Warwick, beating the Wizards for the first time since 2004. For his efforts in the rookie season, Coach Dunbar was awarded Division IIB Coach of the Year. A Rhode Island native, he played his high school ball at St. Raphael Academy, baby, in Pawtucket. And his senior season, he led the Saints to a 13-0 record and a Division I state championship. As the star quarterback for the Saints, he was named first-team All-State by the Providence Journal and Rhode Island Gridiron Player and Back of the Year by the Providence Gridiron Club. He went on to play his college ball at Dean College for 2 seasons, helping the Bulldogs win back-to-back conference championships as an all-conference defensive back before earning a scholarship to the University of Rhode Island, where he was a 2-year starter at cornerback. Coach Dunbar got his start in his coaching at Portsmouth High School in Rhode Island and had his head coaching stints at American International College, Dean College, Coventry High School, and formerly at Westerly. That was a mouthful, easily the longest introduction I had. I lost my breath for a second. That is a quite of an intro right there. My guy, Stanley Dunbar, baby. I'm glad you came through to the EG Pot of Thunder.
Yes, sir, my man. It's a pleasure to be here. You know, I've known you since I think you were a freshman in high school. So to see all the great things you're doing with this podcast is dope. It's great for the culture, great for Rhode Island. And I just see you continuing to grow, my brother. Wish you nothing but the best.
Oh, man, thank you. I appreciate that. And I think that's where we have that bond, too, man, because we have that desire to see Rhode Island and Rhode Island football grow. And I think there's so much potential and things that people like outside of Rhode Island have not seen yet. Is that something like you take pride of as well?
Yeah, man. We all know Rhode Island has talent. And coming from this state, growing up here, and playing high school football here and trying to get to that next level coming out of Rhode Island, we all know it can be difficult. So really with Breakthrough and everything that I'm doing is just to give back to the youth. I want to be that guy that I wish I would have had when I was in high school. So I know, based off of my experience as a college coach, as a former Division I college athlete, I kind of know what that process looks like and how to get recognized by the next level. So my goal is just to help these young boys get to the next level, help them develop and get better as football players, but also help them get that exposure and get out of Rhode Island and go talk to those college coaches, go talk to those scouts, get to those camps. Because, coming from a small state like Rhode Island, those colleges, those scouts aren't necessarily going to come looking for you. You got to go find them.
We just gave a whole bunch of information right there. I want to start off. I'm not sure if you talked about some previous podcasts or anything like that. You said you wish you had something like that in high school. So when you're in high school, like, what did you wish you had? Like, did you not have just a father figure or like uncle or cousins in your life? Because as we started getting after high school, I haven't seen you for a while. Then we kind of reconnected when my brother was playing high school football and he was in the 7-on-7 circuit and stuff like that. And so I didn't have that neither growing up. My parents were they were both first generation immigrants. So, they're familiar with the sport, but not really. My dad, he's one of those bandwagon fans. He knows what he's talking about. Does not know what he's talking about. Yep. Acts like he does, but he didn't know the technique. He didn't know where to sign me up, the good thing. So I kind of just had the brunt of it. Mm-hmm. But Brandon kind of took over, and I was like, all right, I know where to go to. I know who's in Rhode Island right now. So so for you, did you not have that growing up neither?
So, I don't want to take anything away from the coaches that I had growing up. I had some great coaches growing up that, took good care of me and kind of had my back and wished me nothing but the best. I grew up playing football in the city of Providence for the West Warwick Intruders. Had some great coaches there. Ty Dale, Rodney Bostello, Coach Gary, Correa. And after that, when I was at St. Ray's, Mike Sassy did a hell of a job. He cared about me. And I would say, in high school, the guy that kind of behind the scenes did a lot was Coach Akil Youngambi. He was a former University of Rhode Island football player. He came back and started coaching at St. Ray's my junior year, I think it was. He was a DB coach, and he kind of took me, Monk, Gene, a bunch of those guys, Niall, under his wing and really helped us become better. But, there wasn't that many opportunities back then to get out there and to compete besides camps. Nowadays there's 7-on-7s. There's all different type of things you can do to go out there and show these scouts and coaches that you can ball. But back then it was just camps. But he kind of put us on to camps and training and different stuff like that in the offseason. So definitely want to give Coach Chill his flowers.
Yeah, man, Coach Chill is the man. Like, even with me, he helped me out through a bunch of things as well. And, like, do you think that, like, ingrained, like, that, because he was doing things like what you do right now, like, you're going, above and beyond for these players. Do you think that kind of, set that in the back of your head and you didn't even notice it?
Yeah, man. It's just about, like, Coach Chill kind of played college ball, so he knew what it was like at URI, and he saw potential in us, and he came back and really pushed us to get to that next level. So that's what I'm trying to do. We all know Rhode Island kids can ball, but it's like we need to develop. I think that's the biggest thing from Rhode Island to other states. So one thing that a lot of people don't know about me is my freshman year of high school, I went to high school in Tennessee, Knoxville, Tennessee, at West High School. And when I was there as a freshman, I was balling. I was really one of the better kids on the freshman team. When I told my coaches I was moving back to Rhode Island, they was like trying to get me to move with them and stuff. So, and I seen it then. It's like I think the separation happens for guys down south in those other states. The separation happens in high school. So like, cause they got lit. Like I had a class my freshman year called weightlifting, where like football players on the team during school period would go into the weight room and lift for like a grade. So I just think it's a little different. The infrastructure down south's a little different. So I see the separation happen a lot of times at the high school level. So, with a lot of things that we do with Breakthrough, it really started out at the high school level to really help our kids develop on a year-round basis. And then we just been able to continue to expand. Now we got kids as young as 12 years old, 11, tapped in and trying to get better.
That's what's up. That takes a lot of effort. We can get into Breakthrough in a little bit, but I'd never know this either, so I'm going to find out right now. So did you move to Tennessee strictly for football?
Well, I moved to Tennessee in middle school, man. Growing up in Providence, I was a little bit of a knucklehead, not getting in trouble with the law or anything, but just not taking care of business in the classroom. My mom's a single mom growing up in the inner city. She sent me out to live with my uncle and my 3 cousins. So she was just trying to find a best way to give me some male direction. Mm-hmm. So moving out there with my uncle was a blessing. Playing football in Tennessee my freshman year was a blessing. When I moved back, I thought that's where I learned how to play corner, man, to be completely honest with you.
You think it got that dog out of you?
Yeah, it got that dog out of me, and it just gave me that mentality that if I can compete down here, I can compete against anybody. So it was definitely a blessing in disguise, but it was strictly just my mom trying to, steer me in the right direction.
That's crazy. I have 2 things. One, that's crazy because all your former and current Breakthrough athletes say the same thing, like Breakthrough instills that dog in you that, like, no matter who you are, I can guard you.
Facts.
So that kind of, you learned that in Tennessee, and now they're all learning that from you.
Facts. And that's what you need, man. Yeah. At the next level, at the college level, bro, it's competitive, man. You got to be a dog. It's really survival of the fittest because, everybody was the man in high school. So when you go to the next level, everybody's going to be good. So you really got to have that dog, and you got to want it because if you don't, man, you're not going to survive.
You think, especially corner, I think corner is probably the toughest position in football.
For sure.
Do you think a lot of people can have the technique, but do you think one thing a lot of people are missing would be the dog at corner?
Yeah, it's a mentality. There's a lot of guys that can run, jump, and do all that, but not a lot of guys can bounce back when you get beat on a 60-yard touchdown and the guy catches the ball and everybody in the stands sees that you made a mistake. If you're playing, defensive line, offensive line, you get beat. It might not be that glaring. Everybody at the game might not know that you got beat, but with your corner, you get beat. Everybody knows it.
Bro, it's the craziest thing. It can be 10 plays, 9 out of 10 plays locked down.
Facts.
That one corner route.
Yep.
Yo, SD sucks. SD sucks. Take his ass out.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, the 9 other ones, I just locked this dude down.
Yeah, but shit, as a corner, man, you really got to have the mentality that you're never going to get beat. I think that's what it takes to be a corner. Every single time you line up in man-to-man coverage and you're going against somebody, you got to have the mentality like this guy ain't catching the ball before the ball's even snapped. Because if you second guessing yourself when you're up at that line, man, most likely you're gonna get beat. So you got to have that mentality like you're not getting off the line, you're not catching the ball.
Yeah, that's from 2-year starter corner at URI himself. And I'll get back to the second thing of that. That's kind of what I was going at the first time I asked you. So like you not having like that father figure, so you think that your uncle played a role helping you out with having that. So kind of, do you think that in the back of your head, because I feel like you are like a father figure, possibly like a mentor to a lot of these kids in Rhode Island right now. So like, do you think you're filling that void for a lot of these kids in Rhode Island right now?
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of these kids come from different situations. Some of them got, strong male figures at the, in their households, but definitely as a role model and as a mentor, I think I give a lot of kids hope. As an African-American man in Rhode Island, in a predominantly white state where they don't see a lot of African-American coaches, they may be growing up in a city where they don't see a lot of black males doing what I'm doing and having success doing it. They might be looking at me and saying, you know what, Coach Dunbar is successful. He's doing what he loves. That's what I want to do one day. So if I am, that's great. I don't really look for that, but if that's what it's doing, man, I'm definitely happy. I want to inspire these kids to strive and be great athletes, but also just be successful in life, because one day or another, that game's going to stop.
So you're saying one day or another, the game's going to stop. What's like your thought when you're developing these kids? Is it to get better after you're done playing, or do you have to have that hard conversation with them? Coach Washington had this conversation with me on the podcast. Mm-hmm. Are you just being real with these kids and they're like, hey, Coach Dunbar, I want to be in the league? Mm-hmm. Are you giving them that real assessment, that real talk, or are you like, how's that conversation going with, these kids? Because a lot of these kids, I mean, Quiddy's showing you can do it. Nashawn's showing you can do it. So it's definitely a possibility now in Rhode Island. Yeah. Is it like just player by player, or what's...
It's definitely player by player. It's definitely player by player, because everybody ain't going to make it. That's just the facts. But I can't hate on a kid for having that dream. But I'm having real conversations with you guys. If you want to make it to the league, that's great. But the NFL, a lot of people say it stands for not for long. Even if you make it, you might make it and get out when you're 30. You got the rest of your life to live. So you got to have that education. You got to have a plan for after football. So, when I'm training these kids, my mentality is I want to help them to reach their full potential as a football player. I want to, let them know what they got to do in the classroom academically to get to the next level. And if they do have that ambitions of playing at the next level, I want to encourage that. That's not realistic for every kid, but for those that have that potential, I'm going to encourage that, but also let them know that even if you make it to the league, man, a lot of guys make it, and within 3 years, they're out the league. At 25, 26, you got to have a plan for after that. So we're going to have those real conversations, but if that's a kid's dream and I see that potential in them, I'm going to push them and encourage them to go chase that.
So you're pushing them, you're helping them chase that. Now you also like, helping them get in contact with these college coaches, because, give myself as an example, I'm not saying I was a D1 player or anything like that, but I had no type of even like a shill for me. No one's telling me where to talk to these coaches, how to talk to these coaches. Are you helping these kids, especially from the inner city, who are on breakthrough, who may not have those, father figures or guidance counselors that may care? Are you helping them get in those conversations like through the door and even that segue to meet these coaches?
100%, man. I think one thing that, I think I do is I just try to be a bridge for these kids. If there's a gap from a college coach or a parent or a student, I try to bridge that gap and help people develop different relationships. I think that's something that I use my network. I coached college ball for about 4 years, so there's still a lot of guys coaching college ball that I know. I talk to a lot of college coaches about kids that not just play breakthrough. If I know of a good kid from Rhode Island and I know a school might be looking for that position and I'm aware of the kid, I'll recommend that kid and share his contact information and different stuff like that. So without a doubt, that's the goal. At the end of the day, most of the kids in breakthrough, I'm just trying to get them to the next level. So talking to college coaches, helping them out through the process, educating them on different camps they got to go to, that's what we do.
So you're a believer in camps because, you talk to these parents sometimes where maybe their kid just wasn't good enough and they don't know. Mm-hmm. But, you talk to these coaches, these parents, and they're like, oh, camps are a waste of time. Camps are a waste of money. What's your thoughts when you're hearing stuff like that?
I think some camps are a waste of time. And I think that's why you need people in your corner who are kind of educated so they can kind of help you know which camps to go to, because there are some camps out there, unfortunately, that are just trying to make money. So you got to have the right people in your corner that are educated on what camps to go to. Go to camps where there's a connection. Like if your coach knows a coach on that staff, and they can kind of actually evaluate you, I think that's the way to go rather than just signing up for every camp you see. You definitely want to do your research, and I would say the college camps are the ones to go to. The ones where the college coaches are going to be there are the ones to go to.
So you're saying doing your research, how are they doing their research? So how would you distinguish a bad one opposed to a good one if you're Effie Greco at St. Raphael Academy?
I would say you want to know who's going to be there. You want to, before you pay your money and commit to a camp, you want to know what schools are going there. And once you find out what schools are going there, you want to kind of do your research and seeing which coaches recruit Rhode Island or recruit Mass or Connecticut, recruit this New England region. You want to find out what coaches there. You want to hit them up, find out if they're going to be there. So just don't sign up for stuff and not really know if there's actually going to be college coaches there or 24/7 rivals. You want to know who's going to be there before you sign up.
And you think you should go to their website, go to their roster, and see if you see Rhode Island as their hometown and stuff like that for a player?
Yeah, most legit camps will kind of post what college coaches are going to be there. They won't just say, here's a camp, sign up for it. And then you can always go on that team's website and look at their coaching staff and find out who recruits your area and kind of try to build a relationship with that coach. So
what would be the biggest no? Like you're saying to reach out to these coaches. So if I reach out to a college coach a month before the camp and I don't hear nothing back, should I avoid that camp?
No, I don't think so, man, because a lot of these camps that are ran by colleges, they have a bunch of different schools there. It's not just that college. So if you go to a URI camp, there's going to be 40 other schools there. If you go to, there's a camp in Springfield, Mass. at Springfield College. It's called the Best in New England camp. I've been privileged to work at the past couple of years. They have 100 schools. So there's always going to be other colleges there, even if that guy doesn't respond to you. But I would say you want to go to the camps where college coaches are going to be at.
Are there specific camps that are position specified? Is there a corners camp, a linebackers camp, quarterback camps that you should attend?
Yeah, so I know there's a guy out in Mass that I've had the privilege of working with. He's a really good quarterback coach, M2 Quarterback Academy, Mike McCarthy. He does a really good job. He has a quarterback camp. I think last year was at Stonehill College. He's the only one I know that's having those specified camps. There aren't really DB and receiver only camps. Maybe that's something that's going to start happening in the future, but I know M2 does a really good job with his quarterback camp that college coaches attend and kids have gotten offered at them.
Nice. And they're saying it may come up in the future, and you probably had those thoughts when you were originally with the plans of Breakthrough. At some point, this is going to happen. What were those original thoughts, and how did you get Breakthrough to even start as probably the most popular 7-on-7 and beneficial 7-on-7 league in Rhode Island right now? So how did that originate in the first place? So
I was actually, it's 2017, I was coaching at American International College at the college level. And it was a great experience, but, just coaching college ball, you kind of see the business of it. You're not really doing it for the kids as much as a business.
For
you know what I mean? And I felt like my heart is really to help kids and to give back and stuff like that. So I was kind of planning on a way for me to get back involved in at the high school level, and I was just thinking about what Rhode Island needed, and there wasn't really, there were people doing things. I won't say that there wasn't anybody doing anything, but I just thought, I had a vision. I know with my experience of playing and coaching and that I can give back to the state and really help kids get to the next level, man. So that's what it started. I was really training a lot of kids, working kids out and stuff like that. I'm a busier guy now. I don't have the time to train as much, but I still try to help in other ways by having bigger events and things of that nature. But it really just started with the mindset of, what does my state need, and trying to give back and trying to help kids get to the next level. So what does your state need? That is a question in itself. What do you think is the biggest issue with Rhode Island high school football? And you just made a face. I know you have a list. Yeah, and it's not really a list, man. It's I think the biggest issue with Rhode Island high school football is, or you can say Pop Warner too, anything. It's not Pop Warner. It's not none of that, man. I think those Pop Warner programs do a good job. I think the biggest problem with Rhode Island high school football is kind of just the infrastructure of organized sports at the high school level. Football is not really a big deal in Rhode Island. There's not really much of an investment being made for football to blow up like it is in Texas or Georgia. Football is more of an activity here. It's not a way of life. In other states, Tennessee, Georgia, football's a lifestyle. You go to those games on a Friday night, and those stands are filled. Those coaches are being compensated. They're in the building. They're doing different stuff like that. I think Rhode Island hasn't really made a commitment to taking football to the next level. There's some other sports that I think are probably a bigger deal in Rhode Island. But there's a lot of people, kind of doing it the grassroots way, trying to help kids behind the scenes, man. So I commend those people. But I think the biggest problem with Rhode Island high school football is just the infrastructure at the high school level. There's not really a strong commitment to produce great football programs. And that's, Hendricken's done a great job of dominating LaSalle, the private schools. But, I think in other states, man, those public schools really do a better job. North Kingstown's a good one. Portsmouth's a good one. Westerly's a good one. But, the investment still isn't made, to those coaches to get the best, most qualified coaches in the building and get them coaching your teams and have the funding to really build a competitive program. That's not really being done, and that's why you see a lot of kids from these towns deciding to go to the private route. They want to go to Hendrick and LaSalle because they look at where they're from and they're like, well, I don't want to. I'm trying to make it to the next level. I don't think I can make it from this school, so they're gonna try to do what's best for them, and I don't blame them. So I just think, the infrastructure at the high school level kind of needs to grow. There needs to be more of a commitment to getting great coaches in the state, getting the most qualified guys, and really kind of find a way for those guys to make a living, whether working in the building and building football programs so they can kind of commit to doing that work. But, I think that's what it takes.
So are you saying the head coach, or are you saying head coach and his assistant coach as well, like overall organization?
That's how it is in other states. So right now I would say it's unrealistic to say Rhode Island's going to do that. But if you go to Georgia, those coaches are in the building. If you go to Texas, you go to Florida, you go to those other states, those coaches are in the building and they're committed year-round to building a successful football programs. Unfortunately, a lot of coaches in Rhode Island, and I don't blame them because they don't really get compensated to coach year-round. So I can't say unfortunately. A lot of these guys got families, but a lot of coaches show up in July and August. When like football season's over in November, they don't show back up until July and August, and it's because they're not being compensated. They might not be in the building, or they might have other things going on. But in other states, man, those coaches are working year-round to build successful high school football programs.
Yeah, man, I went to school in New Orleans for college for a semester, and I was in there in the spring. And I used to drive by a high school to get to my dorm or whatever, and there was spring ball. Padded spring ball all the time. You don't see that in Rhode Island. Is it even legal?
No, it's not illegal.
Right?
It's actually illegal.
It's illegal, right?
It's
in
illegal
Rhode Island?
in Rhode Island,
yeah. And San Fran too. Went to San Fran one time. They had a spring ball, like in April. They're playing spring ball, and like you said, I know in Georgia the public schools are better than the Catholic schools for football.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep.
Yes.
It's a huge commitment. Like if you go to Georgia, man, you see some of those stadiums in Texas. Like those are public schools. Bro, what I mean? It's crazy.
I know Kyler's high school has like a full-on little city in his high school.
Stadium, brother. It's different.
Yeah,
it's different.
Definitely different. And you're saying all this have the infrastructure and you're not getting compensated well. And I don't think I'm speaking out of pocket because this was on your public Instagram yesterday. Mm-hmm. So I am talking to the new hottest free agent probably in New England at this moment in time for coaching, my guy, Coach Dunbar. So we're breaking the news. This is your first podcast / interview since the breaking news. So is that where it all stems from? All that, not being able to, you said on your post that you're a newlywed. Congratulations.
Appreciate you.
So, that's in the back of your head at the same time. You have your master's degree. I'm talking your stuff for you. So, you're not able to, you need to have that, your support and financial.
Hey, prices went up, bro.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I know the value that I bring. I know everywhere that I've coached at the high school level, and since I've been in Rhode Island, everywhere that I've coached, I've been able to create change, and have a positive impact, and really create a culture where not just the football program's excited, but the entire town's excited about football. And I knew, the value that I created in Westerly, man. I just felt like the time and the commitment and off-season lifts, like when the season was over and I'm thinking about next year, it's like I'm not really motivated to commit that time that I know it takes to build a successful football program because I'm not really being compensated the way that I probably should be. So
you're doing that all from the bottom of your heart, like, I want to get these kids better. You weren't being compensated for that time.
It's from the bottom of my heart, but it's also I'm a competitor, and I want to win, and I want to be good, and I know what it takes to be successful. So some of it is, I'm trying to help kids as much as possible, but some of it is, I want to win. I want to compete at the highest level. I want any team that I coach to be contending for a championship. That's how I think. So I know what it takes to be successful, and I know the time it takes, and I just didn't have the energy to do that this year without that type of a commitment being made on the administration's end. Yeah,
like you said, the price went up. So I think I seen you tweet about this, but it's kind of the similar situation to Deion Sanders. Would you say that?
Yeah, but honestly, I guess, but I didn't have a backup plan. Like right now, there's a bunch of prep schools calling. I was just on the phone before we started this podcast. There's a bunch of schools calling and asking about my services as a coach, but I would have been completely happy just staying at Westerly for the long term. Westerly is a great place, man. I don't want to take anything away from that town. It's probably, I would say, the best football town in Rhode Island. They start at the youth level. They pack the house. There's a lot of people there on a Friday night. The kids are passionate about football. They love the game. I had a great experience coaching football there, and I honestly wish that something could have been done to get me in the building and different stuff like that, so I could have stayed there for the long term. But that didn't happen, and at the end of the day, everything happens for a reason. So me stepping down from Westerly, I think maybe God had other plans. I think God might have bigger plans for me. But
were you nervous at all?
Me personally, I had no idea it was gonna happen during this, after the season. As I was just thinking and planning for the next year, I just realized, man, I don't know if I could put that time in again to really build to continue to build the program, just because it's like, man, I'm not really making anything. That drive to Westerly's long, bro. It's not around the corner. So
went there for a Saints playoff game, and I'm like, God damn, think about turning around halfway through. But so you said you wish something could have been done. What is something could have been done? So what would have made you feel comfortable and appreciated it? They could have.
I mean, if Westerly would have found a way to get me a full-time job in the building, salary position with benefits, and I can live a comfortable life and as well as coach football, I would have been content with just doing that and continuing to do breakthrough, to be honest with you. So but as the season was over, just really thinking about the time and the commitment. People say coaching football is a part-time job, but if you're going to do it the right way, you're going to have to start in January with the lifts. You're going to be doing the 7-on-7s in the summer, the lineman challenges, passing leagues, going to camps, different stuff like that. So it's a commitment, and if you're not getting paid, it's kind of tough to do.
Yeah, 100%. So job, you're open to any job, with anything would have been in the school.
Yeah, I think if they would have found a way, there's a lot of schools nowadays that, with all these career tech education programs, they can get creative. They're getting people in the building at these schools that don't have education degrees and getting them certified and stuff like that. So, there's definitely ways to get someone with my background into a school.
For sure. And you said you have your master's degree. What do you have your master's in?
Yeah, I have a MBA, Master's in Business Administration.
Oh, nice. Hey, after all the breakthrough gear, make sure you copy it. I know it dropped today. Seen it on his stuff today.
Get right. Get right.
Get right. And get right. While we're on the topic of breakthrough, what tournaments, competitions you guys have coming up this off season? Because this podcast is going to drop actually this week. You are surpassing a lot of people's podcasts I've taped. You're coming out either tomorrow or Friday. So what do you have on next week, the following week, January, February? What do you got going on for breakthrough?
Yeah, so we're going to be training. We got practices once a week. This every Saturday the month of January. Our first tournament is February 4th and 5th. We're going out to Wilmington, Delaware, Chase Fieldhouse. Then we're going to New Jersey, and then in March we're going to be going to Atlanta and DC. In April we're going to Las Vegas. So we got a full schedule. We're going to about 8 tournaments this year. Kids are going to get a lot of exposure, opportunity to compete against kids from all around the country and really measure and see where they stand. So I'm excited. It's going to be great for our kids to get out there and get their names recognized.
Nice. How many teams you guys got going to all those?
We got 4 teams. We got a 12U, 14U, 15U, and 18U.
Oh, nice. So have you seen, I mean, 7-on-7 was pretty much non-existent when we were in high school.
Nah, I wish it was around, bro. 'Cause some of those, me, Monk, some of the dudes I had the opportunity to play with back in the days, I think we would have been getting busy out there. So it would have been fun if 7-on-7 was.
Yeah, it's crazy how much more opportunity. Like even the nations getting those opportunities from 7-on-7. So seeing that like grow now, how do you see 7-on-7 getting bigger? Is it just starting out right now, or
So I want to be clear. Like 7-on-7 is a development tool. That's how I look at it. A lot of college coaches aren't going to offer you a scholarship based on 7-on-7 unless you're a freak of nature. Like Nashawn Montgomery, he went out to the University of Miami's camp. It was a 7-on-7 camp, and he was balling out, and you can kind of see his skill set. But a lot of college coaches aren't going to probably offer you on 7-on-7 film. We use 7-on-7 as a way for kids to develop and get better. As we stated before, our kids in Rhode Island and New England don't have an opportunity to play spring ball. So while those kids in Georgia and Florida are getting better, our kids are sitting around and, they don't have that opportunity. But now with 7-on-7, at least our skill players can continue to develop. Our quarterbacks, receivers, DBs, linebackers can continue to develop and get better. So that's what we're focused on with 7-on-7. But then, if you go to these tournaments, there are different recruiting services there. They're going to get your name out there and stuff like that. So we're not guaranteeing guys an opportunity to get recruited based off of 7-on-7. We're just using it as a tool to develop. But, you might blow up. Nowadays with social media, there's always these big-time people at these different 7-on-7 events. Last year when we went to Vegas, Destroying was out there. So there's definitely ways to get clout. Once you get that clout behind you, that opens doors. So
yeah, definitely. So saying you can open up doors. Do you have any tips and tricks? Like I saw Joe Burrow say that you shouldn't be posting your workouts. What are your thoughts on people who post their workouts? And obviously the kids posting their workouts. Like, do you think that's beneficial? How do you stand out to these coaches? He's not from Rhode Island. Do you think kids from Rhode Island should be doing that?
I think it's beneficial, right? I think it's definitely, you got to market yourself. But at the same time, you got to realize that if you posting bad stuff, that can also hurt you. You know what I mean? If you posting a workout and you looking trash and the coach is looking at it, you're looking sloppy, that can hurt you.
Yeah,
but if you use it to your advantage and you can, and it's a good clip and different stuff like that, you got to market yourself. At the end of the day, everybody's a brand. You know what I mean? You're a brand, I'm a brand. Everybody's a brand. So you got to market yourself. You got to get your name out there. You can't just expect these guys to find you. You got to go out there and pitch yourself out there so people notice you and people know what you're doing. So I definitely think it's smart for kids to get their name out there and post workouts and different stuff like that. Just be strategic, right? You're doing it with a plan. You know that you're trying to get to the next level. You're not just posting any dumb stuff on social media. You're doing everything you're posting has you have a strategy behind it. So I definitely think it's smart for kids to market themselves.
You think so we're saying clips as a college coach or former college coach and having friends in the industry right now. Are these college coaches going through all these kids' social media? Like they have a Twitter. Are they going through every single tweet? Are they going through everything they do? Or is it strictly just football stuff?
I don't think the college coaches are spending that much time looking at everything. But at the same time, you kids can't be dumb. Like when you go on Twitter, you got to really, like, if you're a kid that's trying to get recruited to play at the next level, you got to have a Twitter page that is completely for football. Like your first and last name, your huddle highlights, your GPA, height and weight, and you're posting all football-related stuff, all workout-related stuff. Maybe if you want to go and enjoy social media with your friends, create a separate profile that you use for your own personal use, have it private. But obviously you still want to be conscious of what you're posting. You don't want to post anything dumb out there. But if you're trying to use social media to get recruited, you should kind of only be posting sports-related stuff. And it doesn't have to be only football, because college coaches like to see kids that are athletes, kids that are running track and doing different stuff to stay active in the off-season.
Yeah. Has that ever affected you, like someone who's applied to go on breakthrough? Have you been looking at their social media and been like, you know what, never mind with this kid?
100%. I go on, especially on Instagram. We're on Instagram, and we basically follow anybody back that plays football that's from New England. That's kind of what I've been doing. If you're from New England, you play football, you're in high school, and you follow Breakthrough, we're going to follow you back. But I've seen kids smoking weed on their stories and different stuff like that. And I'm like, nah, that kid's he's not serious. You know what I mean? That's what I get from it. It's like,
Facts.
He's not serious about his brand. He's not serious about playing college football, because if you was, you wouldn't be posting that stuff on a public social media where anybody can see it.
Yeah, and again, you said that you're a brand, so you don't want a kid doing that on his brand.
Nah, that ruins our brand. That ruins the breakthrough brand.
Yeah, facts. Like some kids smoking weed with a breakthrough sweater on.
Yeah,
it's like, all right, instantly done.
It's not a good look. So you got to be smart with what you're posting on social media. Understand that people are watching. I'm not going and looking for stuff like that. But like I said, we basically follow everybody back. That if you're from New England, you play football, you follow Breakthrough. I might not see it, I might miss it, but if I see you, if I see your page come back again, I'll follow you. So if you're posting dumb stuff and I'm looking at it like, man, this kid's not serious, then yeah, it could definitely hurt you.
Yeah, no, I mean, that would. A lot of people aren't conscious of that though, but I mean, it's definitely a big thing. I mean, you gotta make your own private.
Have a close friends. Right?
Yeah.
There's close friends. You gotta. There's different things you can do. You can't just be, because one day when you get it, like when those same kids get a job and they're employed by somebody, or you can't just post anything on social media. So
right, I was HR in a company before, and I'd always go through their social medias, and this one lady just she was like I don't know what she was in, but she was going off on like minorities, and I'm like,
oh wow,
what an idiot! What an idiot! It's like absolutely
she
not.
Messed it up. Yeah,
she definitely messed it up. Yeah, man. Yeah, so it's not just Rhode Island. So you're trying to get all New England better.
Yeah, so Rhode Island's a small state at the end of the day. We have talented players here, but the talent pool isn't as big as other states just because of numbers. So, we started out with the focus of the 401, but, now it's just strictly New England. Our base and our heart is always going to be Rhode Island, and Rhode Island's always going to come first. But we're always, looking to branch out and expand. Our brand has kind of been growing, so we're kind of, kids in Massachusetts know about us, kids in Connecticut. We got a couple kids from New Hampshire that play on our 7-on-7 team. So,
damn, they're coming out every single practice.
Yeah, it was once a week, but yeah, we got 2 kids from New Hampshire that come down for practice.
Damn, yeah. So, a common theme with athletes in the podcast, they typically give you a shout out. Who do you want to give a shout out for any Breakthrough alum or anybody who has helped build that Breakthrough brand?
So I got to start with the OGs, man. Angel Sanchez, Cam Alves, Nate Cena, Donovan Carr. I would say those guys really paved the way. Carl Green. There's a bunch of guys. I don't want to forget anybody. That first Breakthrough team, Matt Licciardi. There's a bunch of dudes. Who else? Those guys are really the guys that paved the way, man. Before Breakthrough had, 17,000 followers, those guys was rocking with us, and they really helped take us off the ground when we were competing in that Legacy League in the Boston area, winning back-to-back 7-on-7 championships in that New England Legacy League. I think was huge, and people starting to talk about Breakthrough and realizing that there's kids in Rhode Island that can ball. And then we went out to Detroit and we won a Midwest Championship tournament out there. Like 3 back-to-back. We wasn't losing in the beginning, bro. We was just winning back-to-back. It was funny, but everybody was kind of hating on Breakthrough at that time. But it's been a blessing, man. Those guys started it. They started the wave, and I'll always be indebted to those guys forever, just for them believing in the vision before everybody else believed in it. And they're obviously talented football players. I'm happy those guys are balling at the next level, and they're not doing anything I didn't expect them to do. I knew what kind of players they were, and I knew that they'll be having great careers at the next level.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely all great players. Carlos told me the story about how he locked some dude up who got an offer somewhere. I can't remember. I know Angel's balling out. And they give credit to that amazing 7-on-7 playbook.
Oh, it's different.
It's different?
It's different.
That's all you? That's what you're doing at nighttime, is putting these plays together?
Breakthrough, at the end of the day, man, I was a defensive back in college. So because I played DB in college, I understand, like, the most difficult concepts to cover. You know what I mean?
Where you're going to pick off at?
Yeah, exactly.
Like
I done seen so much, like, in college. Between Dean and URI, I was a 4-year starter. I played a lot of football, was on the field. I done seen everything. I done seen these offensive coordinators in the CAA draw up all kinds of concepts. So I definitely use that to my advantage now in creating concepts on the offensive side of the ball. So that breakthrough playbook is definitely different, man. It's tough to stop. It's tough to stop.
That's what I've heard from Angel and Carl on them.
Yeah.
So, as a coach, is there a difference between a 7-on-7 playbook and a 11-on-11 full padded?
100%. The lineman football is with linemen. You know, I know I'm a 7-on-7 coach and stuff like that, but I'm also a regular football coach, and games are won and lost in the trenches. You know, those linemen and at the line of scrimmage, that's where you win and lose football games. So when there's no linemen out there, you know, you can be more creative, I feel like, because things are going to work. But in a real football game, that quarterback ain't going to have that much time to do
definitely
some
not.
of the stuff that he's doing in 7-on-7. So it's definitely a little bit different.
Do you think that's one of the reasons why Hendricken is always one of the best?
100%. Their line.
The line, bro.
The trenches, that's where it's at. That's where you win and lose games. You know, fourth quarter, third, second half.
Bro, and they have, for the most part, an offensive lineman and a defensive lineman.
Yeah.
So now people playing both ways.
They got bodies.
They got bodies, bro.
Well, LaSalle got them this year, though, so we got to shout out LaSalle.
Hey.
We got to shout out, those boys that was out there balling for LaSalle, man. Hurlin Perry, who's a breakthrough kid on our 18U team. Zell, Justin, those are my
Dean.
boys as well. Yeah, Dean, those are all my guys over there, and congratulations for you guys getting it done.
Hey, definitely congratulations.
Also, my boy Terrence. I can't forget about Terrence, man. He was a breakthrough kid. I don't know what he's doing this year. I think he's running track, but Terrence is, he's a good dude, and he's a breakthrough dude at heart for sure.
Well, you were at the game. I know you get the trophy. You were there all weekend, right?
I didn't go to the Hendrick and LaSalle game. I watched it on, I think it was NFHS, but I was at the St. Ray's Portsmouth game.
What do you think was the biggest, finally get over that hump? And as a coach, what was like their biggest adjustment finally to be Hendrick, you think?
Who? LaSalle?
LaSalle.
I just think LaSalle just had the athletes this year, man. You got Zell, you got Denson, the kid Brady Fisher, Terrence, Dean at quarterback. They just had the talent. I think they had more, like from a skilled player standpoint, I think LaSalle's skilled players this year were a little bit, more advanced than the Hendricken skilled players. And I think that's what took them over the top this year. But, Hendricken's going to be back next year.
Always.
They got some good backs. Ron J. Francis. They got some linemen coming back. Jaden Falcone's a really good quarterback, dual threat. So I think Hendricken's going to be tough. Mike DeSilva Jr., they got some good players coming back. My nephew's a freshman over there. I don't know if he's going to crack the lineup next year, but, he's a kid that I'm working to get him right when he's an upperclassman. But I think Hendricken's going to be back. But this year, LaSalle just had too much talent.
The guys.
Yeah, too much talent.
What other people should we be, people watching Rhode Island talent, who should we be looking out for in Rhode Island talent and coming?
I think my boy Hurlin Perry. I think he's the next lockdown corner coming out of the state of Rhode Island. We've had some good corners come out of Rhode Island. I think Hurl, he's continuing to grow and develop physically. He's getting faster. He's getting stronger. When I see him a couple weeks ago at the tryouts and when I see him at the season, he's already looking bigger. And, when we talk about that dog,
you got it in him.
He got that dog.
I mean, the family genetics already.
It's in the family. The Perry family's, famous, out here for football. And I think Hurl, he got that dog in him. He got the right mindset. He's smart. He got great ball skills. When the ball's in the air, he can go and locate it and find it. I think he's the next great corner coming out of the state of Rhode Island. I think he's a Division I kid. He just has to continue to work and get bigger, stronger, faster. But I think all those things will come. But I think Hurl's the next one out of Rhode Island.
Hey, stay on the lookout for Hurl right there. And you're saying to get better, stronger, faster. I asked Angel this on the podcast, and he said he kind of regrets it, but not really because it's a great time playing basketball after football. What are you saying to someone like a Hurlin? So you're saying that he's a lockdown corner, Division I player. I don't know if he does or not, but say he plays basketball. Are you telling that kid, all right, play basketball, or no, don't play basketball, track, hit the weight room? What is your advice to someone like that?
So I know Hurl's doing all the right things. His dad does a really good job of keeping him on track, and they're lifting and running. I know he's running track and stuff like that, but it's tough. If I would have to see the kid play. If I go to one game and I check him out and see what he can do out there, if he can't ball, I'm like, bro, you wasting your time. Get on that track.
He's just a defensive guy.
Yeah, just a defensive guy. Get on the track. Get on the track. But if you can really hoop and you can ball and you helping your team win games and
you're like David Duke or something like that.
David Duke or the kid from Portsmouth a couple years ago, Benny Hurd. He was actually a really good basketball players. So, Marquise Buchanan last year was an all-state
baller.
baller. So some of those kids, if they're balling, they're averaging 20 and they're really, one of the top guys out there, I would say keep doing it. Have fun and enjoy high school. But if you're just a guy that's going in there to foul people and hack and get rebounds, you better off on the track, man.
Yeah. I remember one time at Saints, you went in.
Yeah, I was a bushwhacker, bro. I was a bushwhacker. Shout out to Sa. He had me out there just to play defense, get rebounds. It's funny because I feel like if I didn't go to St. Ray's as a basketball player, I might have had a better career. But Saints is known for basketball, especially back when we was coming up.
Yeah,
I think Saints is known for guards. Back in our day, there was so many point guards. Antone, Corey Wright.
Charles is nasty.
Yeah, there's always point guards. There was always point guards at St. Ray's. And because I'm the football guy, they look at me, I'm bigger, stronger, so I got to go foul people, play power forward. It was different, but yeah.
You was the Draymond of the team.
Yeah, I was the Draymond. That was my role.
I remember that game vividly. You came in, you fouled. He's like, Stanley, out. He came out in 2 seconds, he pull you out.
Yeah, bro, it was tough. But shout out to Sa, man. I still see him on the sideline over there at St. Ray's, so it's always good.
Yeah, so all depends on the player, though. So you former alum.
Yeah.
Talk about him specifically. If you knew him, or you didn't know him, but like should Angel have not played basketball? Someone like that.
Honestly, I didn't really get to see Angel play a lot of basketball.
4-year starter, but like he said, it was a great time, but he probably is like, I should have played football. I mean, I should have done track and got better.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Angel got that game speed, man. Like even on the football field, one thing that track could have probably helped him at is like the time speed. Mm-hmm. Like that 40-yard dash and stuff like that. Track teaches you proper technique and running mechanics and different stuff like that. So track is definitely a great thing for football players. But Angel's the type of guy, when he got the ball in his hand, he might run a 4.3. He might run a 4.4 with that ball in his hand, but track would have definitely helped him out with those getting those times down. So when you go into a college camp and the coach wants to see you run a 4.5, that can a lot of times, and high school players pay attention to this. Those times can be the difference between a scholarship offer and a coach telling you to walk on, man. If you're a 4.6, 4.6 receiver, and you're not the tallest guy, a lot of schools aren't going to offer you unless you got amazing film. So if you're a skill player, receiver, DB, you want to be running 4.5s. You want to be running under 4.6, 4.5s, and the faster you can be, the faster your times are. That's going to improve your chances of getting a scholarship from a college. So track is important. It teaches you how to run. I got a lot faster from running track. So I would recommend that for all high school football players. And whether they should play basketball or run track, it really depends on the athlete. But track is important for I would say all high school football players.
Do you necessarily agree with that? Like how times should indicate scholarships and stuff like that? Being like a college coach and being obviously, it's like your full-time job and doing the 7-on-7s. Do you necessarily agree with that? There are other people like you said, the Angels, the Jarvis Landrys of the world. Not the fastest dudes, but they got that dog in them. And you can't really see that by the time.
Yeah, there's exceptions to the rule. And I think that the film is the exception.
Yeah.
If you put the film on and that dude is balling and he's a dog, then there's exceptions to the rule. But if it's close, a lot of times these college coaches, man, this is their livelihood, right?
That's true.
They can't afford to miss on a kid. Like if you want as close of a sure thing as possible when you're recruiting these kids, when you're offering a kid a scholarship, because especially like the smaller FCS level schools, you can't afford to miss on these recruits. So it's a criteria, man. Like if you're a 5'9" corner, you better be running 4.5 or lower.
Yeah.
If you're a 5'9" corner coming out of high school, if you're running 4.6, it's going to be tough to get that. You're probably not going to get that Division I offer, to be honest with you. So, you got to be 4.5 or under if you're a 5'9" skill player, trying to play college ball at the Division I level. That's D1. But if you're, lower level schools, they're going to take a chance on you if you can ball. But as far as D1 goes, if that's your goal and you're a 5'9", 5'10" corner, you cannot be running 4.6 or above unless you're a dog on the film.
So what was like your situation coming out of high school? So, get back to how we met. I met you 2006. Mm-hmm. You were 2 years above me. So, seeing someone like you, I was, playing at the Cardinals. We were okay. I was like one of the best kids on the team. Then I got to, Saints, and that '08 class skill players was different. You know, like you, Monk, bro. Even like a Hans Hall, he would be.
Hans was a problem.
Hans was a problem.
Like 6'4", 6'3", 6'4", D
bro.
Long.
And this day Rhode Island, he'd be getting offers.
It can run. Yeah. Oh, definitely. Hans would have had offers because you look at a guy like what Hans was. He's like 6'3", 6'4", like 200 pounds, and can run and long. College coaches look at a kid like that and they see nothing but potential.
Development.
Yeah, development.
Yeah.
Hans would have been one of those guys where they're like, you know, he's not gonna play for us right away. We're gonna redshirt him, but by his redshirt sophomore year, he's gonna be a player for us. So
yeah. And like my point I was getting to was like, you know, I was around players now at this point. Niall was like 10 years older than me in my class. Gene.
My boy, chill on now. That's my boy. What up, now? What up, Gene?
What up, now? What up, Gene? Yeah, and you know, I had those players now, and like, you know, saying you guys, and you know, first time I was like, damn, these kids got the it factor and stuff like that for sure. So like coming out of high school, senior year, 13-0 record, you end up getting injured at the end of the season. Are you running into issues coming? Like, is that the reason why you have to go to Dean out of Saints, or
nah? And all the high school coaches, high school players need to pay attention. The reason why I had to go junior college out of high school is because I didn't take care of business in the classroom. To be honest with you, I wasn't a bad kid. I wasn't getting in trouble in high school, but I was a kid that was just focused on football. Like, and I didn't really have like my mom was working multiple shifts in order to provide for the fam. I didn't have a father at home. My father passed away when I was a baby. So, you know, I didn't really have anybody on me. Like, my mom was on me, my sister, they all tried, but, you know, I was just focused on football, and I really didn't take school as serious as I should have. So I didn't have the grades, so I had to go Juco and become a qualifier. I was a qualifier for Division II and Division III, and I had schools, Division II and Division III schools that were recruiting me. But, you know, for me personally, I knew I was a Division I player, so I decided to bet on myself and go Juco and try to, you know, get that scholarship. And I was lucky enough to have multiple Division I scholarships coming out of Dean, but I wouldn't recommend that. If you can take care of business in high school and just get that offer and go to a school all 4 years, that's the route you want to go. So those grades matter. So know what you got to get as far as your GPA and your SAT scores. There's different criteria for each level. Division I, you know, you're held to a high standard to be a qualifier, so you got to make sure you're educated on that stuff and you're taking care of business in the classroom, because if you're not, it doesn't matter how good you are as a football player. You could be the best football player in the world. If you're a non-qualifier, you're not going to be able to go to a Division I school. You're going to have to go junior college, become a qualifier, or you're going to just settle for a low level, there's nothing wrong with that. Guys go to lower levels and they ball out and become All-Americans, and they still have opportunities to play at the next level as far as like professionally, but if your goal is Division I, you want to take care of business in classroom. But, you know, I was one of those kids that didn't in high school, so I had to go the Juco route. And I ended up, you know, figuring it out and started to take school serious once that happened to me, once I wasn't a qualifier, and I took care of business after that.
So I have a question. So, like, being someone, like I said, you know me, I was like good at track, good at football. I'm not saying I was the best. Obviously, you know, you guys had the D1 talent. So I never had these thoughts like, oh, I'm the best guy in the team. Were you thinking like, I'm so good, teams are gonna offer me anyway?
Yeah, probably. You know, as a 16-year-old kid, I'm like, they're gonna find a way to get me in there because I'm a dog, so they're gonna have to find a way.
They're gonna have Jimmy take the test from me.
Yeah, it don't matter. It don't matter, man. It don't matter how good you are. You gotta be a qualifier, and it's funny because college coaches, you know, if they know you're not a qualifier, they won't even waste their time, because there's a lot of good football players in the world, in the country.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of good kids out there that are taking care of business in the classroom, and it's a competition, right? The recruiting is a competition. You are competing against kids all throughout the country. Now there's kids in other countries playing football. It's not just Rhode Island. I know a lot of our guys get caught up thinking that it's Hendricken versus LaSalle and the D1, but you're competing against kids from all over the country when it comes to scholarships. So you got to make sure that you're taking care of business in the classroom, and there's nothing holding you back from getting that offer.
Yeah, no, definitely. You said no excuses. How do you feel like if you deal with a player and you hear a lot of excuses?
I don't like excuses. Find a way. And if somebody's making excuses, that just, as a coach, that just lets me know that kid ain't really built like that. You know, if he's making excuses because the great players, the kids that are gonna win you games and gonna win you in playoff games and stuff like that, they're not making excuses. They're gonna do whatever it takes. So if you're making excuses, man, that kind of says something about your character. So that's something you want to work on. Is no excuses. If a coach is telling you to do something that's within the scheme or it's the right thing to do, you got to kind of be selfless in the sense to take care of business.
Do you think a lot of coaches give, say, I'm sure this happens all the time. I've seen it happen. I've been a part of it. Do you think like you'll give the Stanleys and the Jordans, the Angels get the benefit of the doubt over a kid there might be a kid who's okay, he might be able to play, but you see him kind of dog a rep every now and then. Are you not going to give that kid a chance just because you can see his attitude? You don't want to bet your coaching livelihood on it. You rather just roll the Angels or the Stanleys as opposed to that kid just because you trust Angel more.
So me personally, or like the college coaches?
Like it's both. Like you personally.
Yeah. So me personally, I'm gonna get on that kid. Like if he's dogging it and he's not doing what he got to do, I'm gonna push him. I'm gonna be on him. I'm gonna make sure life can be easy and you do what you got to do, or life can be harder, and I'm gonna be on you. I'm gonna be on your case, making sure you're doing what you got to do. But you can't. At the end of the day, I think as a coach, you want to have a relationship with players that you trust your players, right? And coaches are going to give kids opportunities that they trust. If I trust a kid, I know that this kid's been working his butt off all week in practice. Those are the kids that play. If a kid's missing practice throughout the week, if he's dogging lifts, if he's not focused, he's not serious, I'm not going to trust pitting that kid out there on a Friday night to try to win us a game because he hasn't been putting the work and he's been dogging it. I see that. So for me, it comes down to preparation and really trust. I got to trust a kid in order for me to put him in position on a Friday.
But Coach, I'm fast. I know the playbook. You just don't give me the chance. If you give me the chance, I'll show you.
I need to see it Monday through Thursday. I need to see it during the week because you're going to practice. The way you practice and prepare is the way you play. You want to work so hard on Monday through Thursday that when you go out there on a game day, the games are easy for you. So preparation matters at every single level. So if a kid's telling me that just lets me know that kid has the wrong mentality. And I have to educate this young man on the fact that you thinking that you can just turn on the switch isn't the right way to approach the game, because you're going to go out there, you're going to make a mistake, you're going to forget what you got to do, you're going to get beat, and you're going to put the team in position to lose because you have the mentality that you can just flip the switch. And also, if you're a kid that has talent, I want you to be a role model for the rest of the kids, because if you're a kid that's a good football player on the team, whether you like it or not, other kids are going to be looking at you. So if you're dogging it and you're not doing the right thing, then other kids are going to start doing that. And then I'm going to have to get on the whole team. So I'd rather just get on that one kid, make an example out of him, and push him to make sure that he's doing what he has to do.
Coach, when I came to all-season workouts, I was lifting January when Angel wasn't there. I come in, you put me on the A squad and a 7-on-7. I let up 2 passes. Angel let up 3, and now you bench me. You're not benching Angel. How's that fair to me?
Well, at the end of the day, it's about, you got to be a player too. I see you working hard. I'm gonna put you in positions to get successful. I'm gonna reward your hard work. But if I gotta do like Angel's a dog. At the end of the day, I know what he can do, and I know what you can do if you work. And so, that's a tough question to answer. I think it's really
I'm sure that happens all the time. Yeah, that exact situation. Yeah. I come to workouts. You're giving Angel the ball.
Well, everybody comes to my workout. Like if I'm the coach, there's no favoritism, man. Like I'll put it that way. When every team that I've coached, there's no favoritism as far as like one quote that I try to live by as a coach is you're not going to treat everybody equally, but I'm going to treat everybody fairly. Everybody in life ain't equal. Like, your starting quarterback isn't equal to the kid that's on the backup. But I'm going to treat everybody fairly. You're right. I don't think I've had a player, even my bench guys, like the guys that aren't getting in as much, those guys feel like I respect them as people and I treat them fairly. So when it comes down to that, everybody's going to have to work. Nobody, like even in my star players, they're not going to come to practice dogging it, and I'm going to be cool with that. So I haven't really been in that situation too much because kids know I hold everybody accountable.
Yeah, but I love to hear that. Yeah. I just know you know what I'm talking about. That conversation was happening all the time amongst other coaches and stuff, things along those lines. We kind of went through Breakthrough. We went through high school, how we met, things along those lines. And I wore this shirt strategically because I know you're a big Kobe guy.
Thanks, yep.
Do you have anybody who you look up to like that? I know, like back in high school, I'm sure things changed. I doubt it, but it was, do you have anybody you look up to? Give you inspiration and who put that dog into you? I know you said your uncle, but anything like sports figures you look up to and things along those lines for motivation.
It's still Kobe. Kobe's my guy. Me and Kobe got the same birthday. And I've been a Kobe fan since I was 10 years old, watching him and Shaq and the Lakers back in the day playing against Allen Iverson in the finals. I think that's when I really became a fan of Kobe, not even knowing that we shared the same birthday, but just his approach. And even back then as a kid, I just think there was something about him, the focus, the determination, and his will to win. And with Kobe, he's a big worker. He's a guy that it's about the preparation. It's about waking up at 4 a.m., putting in the work and outworking people and just having that dog mentality. And I think, that's something that, as an athlete that I tried to have, and even as a coach and as a person, you want to have that mentality because whether it's sports or life, if you have that mentality, you're going to be successful.
Yeah. So do you have any books or anything like that you read for motivation on top of that?
I'm a man of faith, so I definitely read scripture. And I learn a lot from the Bible. And as far as books goes, I listen to a lot of audio books. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I watch a lot of YouTube videos for motivation. Anything that can help me to get better as a person. I think I'm really big on personal development and just trying to be the best version of myself. Every single day I have a to-do list. I know what I got to do. Some days it's harder to follow it, but every single day I try to have a to-do list. I try to get up early. I try to get my prayer meditation in. I try to go to the gym and work out. I try to read like 10 to 30 minutes a day. And I'm a work in progress. I haven't figured it all out. Some days are easier than others. Some days things get hectic and I kind of get off script. But just having a plan. When you wake up in the morning, you want to know what you got to do, and not just be walking aimlessly. You know what I mean? So I think
that's a lot of people's issue when they're like, "Oh, I'm not accomplishing anything."
Too much free time. You know what I mean? Like if you kind of have a plan, you're gonna know what you got to do. You're gonna be focused. Everything you're gonna do is gonna have a purpose. So I think. That's kind of, if you want to be successful, you want to be productive as a person, things that you can develop.
Yeah, surround yourself with, people who are developing as well. I think, you are who you surround yourself with.
Yep.
A lot of college kids are coming on, high school, rising seniors. I tell them, especially when you're going to college, go to these networking events. People may laugh at you, like, "Oh, what are you doing?" Bro, those are the people who are going to be successful in life. Like you said, they're filling their free time. Like even this with the podcast, I could be watching Netflix right now with popcorn, eating pizza right now. But
you're meeting a lot, you're talking to people, you're networking, and
hearing people's stories. But I think everybody has a story if you can get it out of them. And I can learn stuff. I've learned stuff from you that I didn't know about previously to today. And I think it's great. Always meeting people and seeing what's the next thing for Rhode Island. And I think like I said before, we share that common connection where I want Rhode Island to grow with football, businesses. If I can help these kids get like an NIL deal going into college, I'm not asking these kids for anything. If anything comes out about it, like I know Carl got something like a sponsor or something like that. And these kids still reach out to me nowadays. Like Carl hit me up yesterday. Shout out to Carl. He's committed to UMass Dartmouth.
Yes, sir. Shout out to my boy Carl, man. We got to get in the lab and get right this offseason.
Yes, sir, baby. Him, Angel, Dante, doing big things next year at UMass Dartmouth. And I was doing this shit to see people grow and get bigger, I think that's what that's my motivation to do this.
Yep.
And that's my motivation. What plans should we see for 2023 from my guy Coach Dunbar?
I would just say sticking to the script, man. You probably won't see too much new. You'll probably see me coaching football again somewhere in the fall. I'm talking to a couple schools right now. Haven't really made a decision yet, but I think I'll be coaching somewhere in the fall and just continuing to do this breakthrough thing. Continuing to grow, man, continuing to help kids, just sticking to the script. This is what I love to do. So just trying to get better at it, trying to do things better. But, all the same stuff, but just trying to take it to another level.
Yeah, man. I'd love to hear it. Any last words? Anybody want to give a shout out to that means something to you or got you to where you are now, like in this moment in your life?
I want to shout out my wife, Swaylene. I want to shout out her because just her support, behind the scenes, doing all the dirty work and making sure I'm mentally and spiritually in the right state of mind. My family, my mom, my sisters, my nieces, my nephews. Shout out to my family for all the support. Shout out to all the coaches that are that I've been with Breakthrough. Mike Washington, Blake Simpson, Charlie Bebo, all the coaches that coach in my 7v7 summer league, all the breakthrough kids, all the kids from Rhode Island trying to get to the next level, whether you're rocking with breakthrough or you're playing for another team. Shout out to you guys. Keep working, keep grinding. Rhode Island's getting on the map. Shout out to Nashawn Montgomery out in Florida doing his thing. His pops, Chiefy, for, just having a plan for his son and putting him in the right direction. Shout out to all the dads out there and families that are committed to putting their kids in the right situation to be successful and making those sacrifices, because it's a lot. This off-season training, these 7-on-7s, all the stuff that these parents do to get their kids to the next level. It's a lot, man. So shout out to you guys. That's all I got. Yeah,
man, it's definitely a lot. I was doing a lot of stuff for Brandon. I thoroughly enjoyed it, but it definitely is a lot. So definitely shout out to those parents, because they may not say it in the moment, but deep down inside, those kids definitely appreciate it. They may not appreciate it in the moment, but after they graduate, they're definitely going to appreciate and having you there for them, and having the coaches like you, Coach Washington, Coach Alex, like Dornber. They all, these kids definitely appreciate what you're doing.
I forgot about my guys, man. Shout out to the Sauce Man. Alfred Dorber, my guys, my little brothers, always supportive, always energy's always genuine, not a bone of hate in their body, man. And those guys have been rocking with Breakthrough from the beginning as well. I was training those guys when they were playing college football, so shout out to you guys for your support and the brotherhood. Keep working, man. Yeah, man, definitely keep working. Make sure you follow Breakthrough Elite FB on Instagram. Make sure you follow my guy Stanley Dunbar Jr. Jr. on Instagram. Send it to the moon. Make sure you support them. Their tournament's coming up. I really appreciate you coming through. You got to come through again, get some updates. Maybe have a conversation with you and Monk. Let's do it, man.
That reunion, Saints reunion.
Saints reunion. I'm down.
I'll get Gene on, get Stanley. Let me get Niall on. Let's get that reunion, baby. Yep. And man, keep doing what you're doing. I'm proud of you, man. And seeing someone like a fellow Saints alum, a fellow minority doing things in the Rhode Island community is, I'm definitely proud of you, man, because I know it's not easy, especially the social media, the marketing of it is definitely not easy, putting these reels together. Yeah. It is a full-time job. Yep. Shout out to you, man. As you said, a St. Ray's guy, bro. And as I was a couple years older than you, just seeing, really not, I wouldn't say your evolution, because I felt like you've always been a kid that had a plan and was always focused on doing something positive, but just seeing the work that you're doing and the production and how professional this is. Like this is the most professional podcast in the state right now, and I think you're gonna blow up, brother. Like what you're doing, the marketing behind it, and you kind of have a plan. So I'm really excited to see where this goes, because I think it's gonna blow up. Shout out to you. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate your support. You coming on, and we definitely gotta do it again. I'm actually really intrigued for that Saints reunion podcast. Let's go. Let's do it up, baby, and make sure you follow your boy. Send it to the moon. Follow your boy EG Pot Thunder on all social media. My travel ventures, Explore FF, all social medias. Let's get it, baby.